Hey guys, welcome back to the channel today. This is my final thoughts on Season of Defiance, or known as Season 20. There's still the epilogue to come out, and I'll be doing a separate video on that, and I'll probably say my final thoughts on the epilogue and the whole season as a whole in that video. But I wanted to just sum up the main content of the story with my final thoughts. If I had to compare it to any of the other seasons we've got along with a DLC, I believe it's probably the best. I think I have been a little too harsh with Season of the Risen, because there were some story beats that I have kind of forgotten about. Like, it was the season where Saladin became part of the Imperial thing with Keitel, so I completely forgot about that. So maybe I was a bit harsh with Season of the Risen than I should have been, but it is what it is. But still believe Season of Defiance is miles better, due to the implications. It actually feels way more connected to the story. Well, Season of Hunted was kind of loosely on the story, but it was not really connected at all. Season of the Risen was way more better, the right step in the right direction, because it was caused by the DLC, and then literally the first week of this season, Season of Defiance, you are still technically, they are one basically. You have to do the DLC, and you get a call from the DLC location to go there, and it kind of acknowledges both sides, and I kind of like that instead of the loosely connected or just completely separate story. Now to the individual stories. Marasov, pretty cool character, but I don't think she's really had a big role apart from her brother who's grieving, which I'll get to that. Devrim K, similar. He's cool to have back because we haven't had him since the Red War, but hopefully we'll get a bit more of him later on, maybe in another season. Mithrax, we got a bit more story of him, and Eramis, Eramis is looking more and more likely to give up on the Witness, because last week, because I'm recording this a couple of days after the 5th week of content came out, on the 4th week, she directly betrayed the Witness. Whether we see the consequences of that before she leaves the Witness, or the Witness punishes her and then she leaves, we'll have to see. But it would be interesting to see a future season where potentially she's helping us stop the Witness, or helping her save more of her people, and maybe that can bridge some of that gap between us and Eramis, because she has said in the Spire the Watcher that she does understand us to an extent because the whirlwind and our collapse. But yeah, that'll be cool storyline for that. And obviously if that happens with Eramis, Mithrax and most likely Ida will definitely be there, so they definitely got potential. And then Aldrin Solve, or the Crow more appropriately, doesn't have that much of a role, similar to Devrim K, except he has a bit more. He has a conversation with his sister, and there's evidence to his grieving with Amanda Holiday's passing, and it's interesting how he wants revenge in a similar way that us, Amanda Holiday, and several others wanted revenge on him on his previous life when he was Aldrin Solve for killing Cade. And it's a nice touch, I think, where he kind of pauses after he says we're going to find him, and he just turns to you and says, I know you want revenge, because he remembers when you had revenge on his previous life, Aldrin. Which I think was a nice touch, and I definitely think that's even going to be either the epilogue or in the future season. And to be honest, a future season where we're with Crow, like hunting down whoever was responsible for Amanda Holiday's murder, I mean, I'm down for that. It's along with having a season where we're going to have Eramis as an ally, or at the very least ally by circumstance, would be cool. Obviously Amanda Holiday probably had the biggest story arc in the season, from being a captor to a hero and then sacrificing herself like a guardian. And I'm not sure if it's hit anyone else like it hit me, but it hit me harder than I thought I would ever think it would happen. I don't know why, because it always seems like, oh, she's the shipwright, she's used as a vendor. But when she died, I genuinely felt sad, like, because she's been there since Destiny 1. So it's still sad to see a prominent character who was very good friends of Cade just gone. And it's also more hurtful to see that Zavala, who I think in many ways we clearly say saw Amanda Holiday as a daughter, had lost another child figure after his son figure and his girlfriend. So whether this will push Zavala down a darker path or he'll continue being the way he is, being our shield, being our rock, we'll have to see. But we did get a couple words from Keitel as well in the season, but it was only there for the funeral, like the remembrance of Amanda Holiday when Mithrax was grieving. But the missions, the way you go into the Ascent Plane, love them. I wish we got more like a... I was gonna say wish we got a dungeon, but we already have a dungeon. I mean like an updated kind of like dungeon where we kind of go into one of the Witnesses' pyramids, or like heck, maybe go into one of his other ones. Maybe we go into the Ascent Plane and go into the one in Europa. I'm just spitballing here. But it's just such an interesting concept that I still think we scratch the surface on. Let down in my opinion though are the weapons. They just look like reskins to me. Some of the perks are quite nice, and obviously there's some of them as strand weapons, that's cool. But I can't deny that some of the weapons are just reskins from Season of the Lost. So, and that does kind of bug me in that remark. The armor is okay, except for the Titan helmet. I think it's disgusting. Ornament armor, I've only seen the Warlock and the Titans. Pretty solid, I like it. I've yet to see the Hunters, so I'm going to do that soon. But yeah, overall, I think was a pretty decent season. Was it up to Season of Splice or Season of Haunted level? No, not by close. But was it satisfying in terms of having it as a seasonal content along with the DLC? Because it was always going to be a short season due to the DLC. And that remark, I think, yes. Like all the other ones that kind of left me kind of just Well, this one makes me feel like we've had a decent story while it's not going to overshadow Lightfall's DLC, which unfortunately wasn't as well as people was hoping it's going to be. So I can't really complain too much about that because it's happened now. We just have to hope that the epilogue for this season and the next couple of seasons and the raid and the dungeons carry us to the final shape, and hopefully the final shape will be the redemption for what Lightfall was. In my opinion, Lightfall wasn't that bad, but people do have their gripes, and I can see why they have their gripes. But back to Season of Defiance. If I had to rate it out of 5, I would say it's as easy and comfortable, like a high 3 out of 5, like a 3.5 out of 5. And I think that's pretty comfortable considering it didn't do anything particularly great. It did show like a tragic moment, which was Amanda Holiday, yes. But besides that, it was more of the same kind of seasonal activity, which you had like seasonal loss, and the weapons do lower it a lot down. Because I do like using weapons in the game, it's one of the main aspects of the game. But yeah, a high 3.5. Anyway. That's me. I'm going to stop rambling here. If you liked this video, hit the like and subscribe, and goodbye for now. Bye.